Today's scripture is Matthew 5:13-20. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how can its tastelessness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one after lighting a lamp puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and gives it light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Do not think that I come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven.
I enjoy having someone else read the scripture because sometimes I think the pastor sounds like the teacher, having myself sat in the pews. The pastor sometimes sounds like the teacher on Charlie Brown, blah, 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 blah. I hope that's not the case when you listen to me, but having sat in the pews, sometimes that's what it sounds like. You get to the end and you can't remember anything. But I do not have the vanity to believe that God only speaks through me. He speaks through everyone here. So I really appreciate getting to hear someone else speak the scripture. So this morning we're going to talk about being the salt of the earth and the light. If someone says to you, you are the salt of the earth, it means you're a good person without a lot of pretense. It's a figure of speech that generally means people of integrity and reliability. Probably a lot of people here would not mind being called the salt of the earth. In fact, I'll be honest, I use it a lot to describe us in our church because I feel that that is who we are. The salt of the earth people are honest, reliable, and full of integrity, trying each and every day. That, I feel, is us. In the Hebrew tradition, salt stood for sacrifice, loyalty, a shared relationship, purification, seasoning, and preservation, all qualities of faithful discipleship. Now, salt can be good or bad. We use it for our food mostly, but too much salt can give people heart problems. Salt does not serve itself, but exists to enhance others. Salt was also a different thing for people 2,000 years ago than it is today. Salt in those days was good for preserving food, for healing, and for enhancing the taste of food. There were no refrigerators or freezers, so salt had a far more critical function. It was necessary for preserving food, especially meats and fish, to protect decomposition. Salt was also used extensively in medical practice. In the Science Tribune article of March 1999, A Taste for Salt in the History of Medicine, Eberhard Werner notes that in both the Greek and Egyptian civilizations, salt was used in a solution to induce vomiting and purge the body from poisoning and infection. Salt was used in cleansing the wound site or to treat ulcers and skin conditions. And it was also thought to be a disinfectant to cure chest infections. Today, salt is still used extensively in medicine in cleansing skin abrasions or wounds, or nasal and ear cavities, or used intravenously to maintain critical electrolyte levels in the blood. Let's consider these vital functions of salt as we hear Jesus say to us, "You are the salt of the earth." Jesus is saying that just as salt combats perishing, infection, and corruption in food and in wound care, the world needs Christians to combat sin which infects society and is causing it to perish and will end up in the same fate as a wound left untreated, or meat or fish without preservation. Christians are to the world what salt is to wound care. We're bringing healing of forgiveness to those who need purification from sin. Further, in the time of Jesus, ovens were made of earth. Jesus spoke Aramaic, and in Aramaic, the same word is used for oven as for earth. So when Jesus is saying, "You are the salt of the earth," he could very well have been saying, "You are the salt of the oven." When we light an oven today, we generally push a switch or turn a dial. If it's an older gas oven, we might light a match. Or maybe when we cook outside on an outdoor grill, we again might use a match. But those earthen ovens of thousands of years ago did not use electricity or gas or even charcoal. And in most homes, they did not even use wood. They burned dry manure, and they used salt to ignite it. Salt accumulated by the sea in big piles. The pure salt would ignite the ovens. The old salt would not. So when Jesus says to us, "You are the salt of the earth," he is saying that we are what is used to ignite something, to make something burn, to get something going. What is really interesting also is that he doesn't say, "Go and be the salt of the earth." He doesn't say, "You are called to be the salt of the earth." He doesn't say, "Get salty." He says instead, "You are. You are the salt of the earth." Moses asked God who he was, and God said, "I am that I am." Jesus told us, "You are the salt of the earth." And what's also interesting is that he didn't say, "You are, and you are, and you are." Instead, he used the plural. You folks are the salt of the earth. Together, go ignite something. And in case we didn't get it, in case the culture of 2,000 years ago has gotten a bit distant to us, he told us again, "You are the light of the world." Not, "I want you to be the light," or "lighten up," or "light up," but "you are. Let your light shine." If you're like me, you can't help but wonder, when did that happen? When did I become salt for the earth? When did I become light for the world? It's just me, just doing my best, just watching out for me, just trying not to get trampled underfoot. Jesus wants me to shine, to give light to the whole house. See, that's the thing about light, too. It doesn't exist for its own sake either. It isn't about getting folks to look at the light. When we try to become the focus of attention, when we take center stage, we aren't being the light. The light is there to help folks find their way. It's about shining on the path, about revealing the hazards along the way, about getting to where we need to be with a minimum of detours. And salt on its own, for its own sake, is not really a good thing. But as an enhancer, as a preservative, it is invaluable. In Jesus' day, it was and still is a common practice for farmers to salt their fields, to add in the right mixture of minerals to help crops grow. Being the salt of the earth helps things to grow. That's our job, not to be the center of attention, but that which helps things grow. Now, yes, it's risky. There's no question about it. It is a loud and noisy world out there, and we might be safer by just keeping our heads down, but we can't. Jesus tells us that too. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. He tosses that one in, even though it doesn't fit as well. It is a reminder that we are exposed. We are the representatives of faith, whether we want to be or not. So we might as well be good ones. We are the manifestation of Christ in the world today, whether we claim it or not. So why not claim it? Why not live as through Christ as if Christ were alive in us? That is what he is saying here. You are the salt of the earth. Why not help things grow? You are the light of the world. Why not help people find their way? Why not mentor? Why not lead? Why not be what you are? A sign of Christ's presence in the world today. Get out there, Jesus says, out there in the world, the noisy, wonderful, scary, glorious world, and let your light shine. Don't worry about being trampled underfoot. That can only happen when you stop being who you are called to be and are created to be. You are the salt. Let us ignite. You are the light. Let it shine.